Welcome back to Pelangi 21. Today I will show you Fellow Travelers Episode 8. Episode 8 begins with Hawk receiving a call from Lucy, who has flown to San Francisco to confront the husband she hasn't heard from for days. She says she wants to talk to him. Hawk visits Tim in the hospital. Watching his lover die has renewed Hawk's sense of urgency when it comes to getting Tim a meeting with the governor. Time is running out to get the state government to care about an integral AIDS bill, and Hawk makes it his mission to use a lifetime of government service to pull some strings. Marcus tells him about Jerome and Frankie, and he asks about the result of the HIV test. Hawk says it's negative. In the past, Lucy is preparing to give birth and Hawk receives a telegram from Tim. Even though he promised not to write, Hawk still replies to him. After Tim completed his service, Hawk recommends Tim for a spot in a government office working to bring Hungarian refugees into the country. The position will keep Tim close, and bring the two men right back to where they left off. Tim meets with Mary, and they talk about their lives. Tim says he got a government job from Hawk, and Mary wonders if Hawk has changed. Mary tells him that she got a letter from Caroline, who is married and has a baby. She wonders what would happen if she went with Caroline somewhere, just the two of them. In the present, Lucy meets Tim at the hospital. Tim tells her about having a seizure, and how he had difficulty getting health care. Lucy tells him the reason she's there is that she wants to see how much he means to Hawk. She couldn't divorce him, thinking they had a happy family life together. When Jackson died, she thought Hawk was the only one who could understand her. Before leaving, she sees Hawk's belongings there. Hawk meets Dave, his friend in the governor's office. Hawk says he wants a meeting with the governor, and blackmails him over what he has done in the past involving sex with men. In the past, Tim attends McCarthy's funeral, but is met by Addison, who calls him gay in public. Hawk takes Tim to an old apartment in Washington, D.C., which he and Lucy inherited. Hawk uses it as a sort of man cave, but never a place to take men. The next morning, Hawk kisses Tim goodbye and the both of them express excitement over being able to see each other every day when Tim gets his new job. Later, Lucy notices a hickey that Tim left on Hawk's neck. In the present, Lucy meets with Hawk to talk. Lucy doesn't want to move to Italy, and wants to stay in Washington, D.C. She thinks Hawk deserves to meet with Tim to say goodbye, and when he dies it will be over. But she now knows that it never ends. Lucy says that their marriage is over. Jerome plays basketball with Marcus. Marcus realizes something is wrong, and makes him to tell him. Jerome says he's positive, and Marcus tries to comfort him. At the hospital, Tim dreams of himself and Hawk dancing in their apartment, before Hawk wakes him up. Later, Hawk accompanies him and holds him while he sleeps. Dave calls Hawk saying that he can at least get him and Tim into a fundraising gala. Hawk says that's not enough, but Dave hangs up. Marcus and Frankie talk about Jerome, and Frankie assures him that they will fight for him. In the past, Hawk meets Lucy, who ignores him. After Hawk spends the night with Tim, he leaves the DC paperweight. Later, he reports Tim to the M Unit, Senator McCarthy's former office dedicated to rooting out government perversion. Tim doesn't formally have the job that Hawk recommended him for, so there won't be an internal investigation into his affairs. Tim will be permanently barred from government service for the rest of his life. Tim finds out what Hawk has done through Mary. Mary confirms that Hawk is exactly the kind of man that he has always proven himself to be. Tim and Hawk go to a fundraising gala, and Tim unable to disguise a cane and lesions. Dave refuses to shake hands with Tim before telling him that their hopes are pointless. The governor is going to veto the AIDS bill. Hawk shakes Dave's hand and pulls him close. He whispers to him that he's not Lucy's friend but his. He tells him that he was with him in the hospital and held him. Tim and Hawk excuse themselves for some air, and Hawk tries to admit that he was the reason Tim never got the job in the Hungarian refugee office, telling Tim that he thinks his presence in Tim's life caused nothing but hurt. Tim says he's never loved anyone but Hawk, and he doesn't regret it. They kiss before Tim tells Hawk to go home. Tim says that he wants to let everything go. If Hawk is around, he will not be able to let go. Hawk interjects, saying that this is his moment to show up for Tim, but it's too late. Tim has something bigger than Hawk to fight for now. Marcus tells Hawk that he was used. The gala invitation was merely a way for Tim and Marcus to organize a sit-in protest to secure AIDS funding in a room full of donors with big pockets. Hawk comes home and finds that Lucy has left him. He goes to his office and finds the DC paperweight which Tim returned. In the past, Tim goes to the hospital to see Hawk, but he stops after seeing baby Jackson. A year later, Hawk walks along the AIDS memorial quilt at its first display on the National Mall. He passes Roy Cohn Square, which is emblazoned with the words bully, coward, and victim. In this symbolic form, Cohn's dastardly presence that had a hand in ruining so many lives is rightfully reduced to nothing but a feeble truth. As he continues to gaze at the quilt, Hawk finds Tim's name and kneels, crying at his memory. His daughter Kimberly joins him, and tells him that it seems like a fitting tribute for her father's friend. Hawk tells her that he wasn't his friend, but he was the man he loved. I didn't expect that the end of this series would be so tear-jerking. This is the start of something truly open and honest for Hawk, a new beginning after spending so much of his life in hiding. In his death, Tim saved his lover once again, as he had done many times throughout their life together. Tim stopped Hawk's drinking habit. He encouraged Hawk to take an HIV test and find out his status. He helped Hawk mourn the death of his son. But most importantly, Tim convinced Hawk that love is much more important than secrets and lies. If Hawk had been brave enough to be honest with himself all those years ago, things might have been different. Even until the end of the episode, the two actors still put on stunning performances. The chemistry displayed is very good. I like how Mary is brought back into the story. I didn't expect politics to be thrown out the window, and they focused on Hawk and Tim, which they should have done since the middle of the episode. The ending is a powerful scene, a true testament to the life-changing power of honesty and an open, loving attitude. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe, and turn on notification.